Morning, everyone. Welcome to another Cuppa with Chris. This time it's a Cuppa with Chris and some friends. So thank you very much for joining us, and I'll just go through a little bit about what we're going to go over, and then I'll jump into the presentation. So first of all, we're going to cover some of the extra care priorities, which I'll go into next in terms of what our priorities are for the year ahead. Jamie and the team will introduce themselves when they come on, but they'll give a couple of general updates in terms of what's happening across extra care. We'll also just go over the care satisfaction results that we received recently to give you an idea of what we're doing on that in that space. We'll give you some information on service charges, which I know residents have been really asking for. So I'll give you a quick overview, but more importantly, tell you what we're going to be doing this year regarding that. And then we'll reference a couple of opportunities to join our fabulous residents forum that we have in place in extra care, but also looking for a couple of extra resident board members to join our board, which the team will go over in a second. As ever, if you've got any questions, please type them into the box and we'll make sure we pick them up at the end. We've got a couple of questions already, I think, ahead of time. So, but if anything pops into your mind that you want to ask any of us, please do so as we go through, and we'll get to the end and ask and answer any of those questions that we see. Okay, so these are the extra care priorities that we are going to talk about this year that we've kind of started talking about already. We're going to focus on three key areas in extra care. They are resident satisfaction, quality and compliance, and performance. And to give you an idea of what that actually means for us, regarding resident satisfaction, we know that is the single most important thing that we're working on at the moment to try and improve satisfaction across all of our services. So we're going to be responding to the surveys, so your resident satisfaction surveys that you undertook last year. The team have already done an awful lot of work regionally and locally to kind of address those. And we're going to be making sure that we get to all of those to see what we can do and how we can improve our services for residents in those services. We're going to be looking to improve communication with residents. We're going to think about how our residents can get more involved with our scheme plans, our extra care scheme plans, and decisions that are being made. And finally, regarding resident satisfaction, we're going to absolutely address those known areas of dissatisfaction that come up time and time again. So we're going to be focusing on that. Regarding quality and compliance, we'll be responding to the changes in regulation. That's both care regulation and housing regulation, that there has been some changes. So it's important that we remain compliant in all of those areas. We'll be strengthening our lines of defence for assurance, and that means that when things do go wrong, which inevitably sometimes they do on a service, that we've got really great regional processes around those to make sure when they do, we can address them quickly and put things right as needed. And we'll also be thinking about how we can meet the changing needs of our residents, because over time, residents' needs and support requirements obviously change, and we've seen that in a number of our services recently. And it's important we can make sure that we support our residents with all of those. And finally, on the performance area, we just need to make sure we achieve what we set out to achieve, because that provides assurance both for our residents, but also for the business in terms of what we're trying to get done. And you'll see on the side as well, we focus on two key enablers, as we call them, and they are investing in our people and leaders. I know without doubt that our services are at best when we've got some brilliant managers and brilliant leaders and employees in place. So it's important we give them every opportunity to be successful and making sure that we're delivering good quality services for residents. And finally, investing in our systems. We know we need to be better at the systems we've got in terms of our management systems, and making sure again that we're providing people with the best opportunity. We've already gone through our resident forum, which we've got some residents in extra care that help me in terms of determining what are the right things to focus on, and they provided feedback on this strategy already, and they gave me 4 key additional areas that they wanted to see. They were in enhancing digital connectivity for residents, making sure we do everything we can to help residents get digitally connected. The second one was helping more schemes develop resident associations where they may not have them. The Resident Forum believe they can work really well and add real value to the services, so we'll be supporting with that. The third one was focusing on customer service across all roles. The Resident Forum felt that was a really important kind of training mechanism that we needed to help our managers with, and not just managers, but all roles in services. And finally, wanting us to make sure that we test satisfaction more regularly rather than once a year. And those 4 areas that the resident forum have given us are fed back into the document that we're going to be using. But we will be sharing this widely with all residents, so people will have an opportunity to comment and help us shape and make sure that those priorities are the right ones for us to focus on.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you all have an enjoyable bank holiday weekend. First, I just wanted to say a huge thank you, and thank you for taking the time to complete and return this year's care survey. Feedback on the areas, not just the areas where we're getting it right, but also areas where we need to improve, are hugely helpful for our continuous improvement. This year, our response rate improved from 51% to 60%, and we achieved a 94% satisfaction rate across all of extra care this year. This was sadly 1% away from our target of 95%, so we know that there's still some improvement there to be made. But we were pleased to see that 9 out of 10 residents are happy with the overall care service. Now, some of the key metrics that we have here on the slide highlight that 94% people feel safe, and 96% of people feel that I get help when I need it in an emergency. There's some key areas, though, that our scores were not as high as we'd like to have seen them. For example, 87%, where people did not feel that we'd listen to them as well as we could. And also 85% in a new rating of I am involved in any changes to my care plan, and 81% for any changes to the times I receive my care are communicated with me. What we've done is we've grouped these improvements into 2 key themes, which are customer service and contact, so which includes staff knowledge and turnover, and also communication and information. And this involves people being included in their care plans and changes to times being communicated. When we discovered through this year's survey that we need to be more concise and timely with sharing information. So what's going to happen now? Well, each of your courts are now working on the responses that they've received, and they are tasked with meeting with all the residents and completing a joint action plan for the areas that need to be worked upon and improved. And this is going to be continued to be monitored and worked on throughout the rest of the year as well. We're also looking at having national actions, and we'll be linking with the National Resident Forum to progress these as well. So, for example, new digital systems will help improve the time and the quality of time that is spent with individuals rather than having to complete paperwork. Also, we've got new introductions, the likes of the Heads update, which we're seeing in some of the new resident newsletters as well, to help try and strengthen and share more communication too. And that's a key summary of the metrics and the care survey for this year. Thank you.
Okay, and I think that's over to me for service charges. So good morning, everybody. I'm Tracy Jones, Head of Operational Development for Housing 21. And I'm here today just to give you a bit of an update on service charge positions. So this is a key theme at the moment for our resident forum, and a real key focus for us and residents, particularly in making improvements around the service charges, around communication and literature, and ensuring people fully understand their service charge. So I'm going to give a very high level run through today of what the service charge is, what it isn't, and then some of the key areas that we've identified as needing improvement. So a service charge, as you all probably know, is a payment made by residents, shared owners or leaseholders for services received in connection with their property. And the payment is in addition to rent. It aims to recover all of reasonable costs incurred in delivering the service to your scheme from start to finish. Housing 21 do not take anything from the service charge, so residents pay for the services that they receive, and any surplus or deficit is for the resident. Costs are reconciled each year against the money received and the actual charges received, and this would mean in years where there wasn't enough money being collected, we'd increase the budget in the following year. But if we'd collected too much, then a surplus would help reduce the following year's budget. The service charge budget, we set this each year with you. We come out and do those consultations generally between October and December. And the service charge budget tells us what costs we're expecting to incur for your service for the forthcoming year. The estimated costs are split between all applicable properties over a 52-week period and calculate your weekly charge. The service charge budget will provide a comparison then of the current year's budget and also the new budget for the new year. And this is where you can see where the differences are for the charges for each of the years. You'll see from previous statements, there's 15 key elements to the service charge budget, and I won't run through all of those today, but just give you an idea of some of the things that are included in the service charge that you pay. So of course, the court manager service, so where the costs are associated with your court from the management service that you have. Repairs of communal areas, so includes the cost of repairing and maintaining any items in the communal areas, such as the central control alarm systems, service contracts for door entry systems and laundry equipment, etc. We've also got your utilities, but only for the communal areas, and that covers all the bills that's listed for communal areas such as the lounge and the laundries. Gardening, so the cost of the contract service that you have for your gardeners, plus any additional work such as tree cutting and things like that. The cleaning is part of that, so the cleaning of the communal areas on the service, and that's either normally by a contracted service or it's an employed cleaner through Housing 21. Cleaning material costs are also included in that section. There's various other costs, and sometimes that includes things like the communal lounge TV licence, and then there's the core support costs. Again, they only relate to services provided on extra care schemes, and they cover the cost of providing a 24-hour support on site. There's some renewables there of communal assets. Administration, which is the fixed management charge, covers incurred by Housing 21 in managing the services on the schemes. You'll see that the income is detailed on there, so any income that comes in for the use of guest rooms and stuff like that will be shown on there, and you'll also see the surplus and deficits and the total service charge expenditure for that as well. You can, of course, influence the cost of your service charge in various ways, and this is why we like to do the consultations on an annual basis with you. So just being mindful around some of that energy use, and also getting into discussions and making decisions around gardening specification, window cleaners, and some of the services that you have on your schemes as well. And of course, throughout the year, we keep a really close eye on your court service charge, and we work to develop relationships with good local repairs and maintenance contracts as well to ensure that we're gaining value for money. So some of the things that are not included in the service charge, so repairs, maintenance and insurance of the dwelling structure, provision of fixtures and fittings, refrigerators, cookers and washing machines, etc. The voids and the interior decoration of dwellings inside your flats. Sinking funds are something that has come up, and we'll do a little bit more of a detailed run through of sinking funds once we start to look at the improvements and next steps. So we have been talking to our resident forum groups across extra care and retirement living, and they would like their charges explained a little bit better. They'd like to see some better literature and probably a little bit better communication in terms of making sure that everybody's up to date and understanding exactly what service charges mean for you. So where are we at the moment? So myself and Richard Lawton, who is part of the resident services team, we've been talking to residents from the forum groups. We've been gaining feedback from our residents and management teams on what's currently provided and where improvements can be made. We're looking at improved communications with both management teams and residents, and also our resident charges teams are going to look to start to do some of those back to basic calls, particularly with residents and also with our management teams on site as well, so that they can fully understand everything around service charges and support residents better with queries. We're updating all of our service charge draft budgets with better literature this year, so looking at a whole pack of literature around service charges. We've got a whole toolkit now of frequently asked questions, and we're looking to get those uploaded for residents to see on our website, and also working with our repairs contractors to ensure residents are getting excellent value for money from the works and services that we provide. And then really just making sure that we've got additional support calls and visits with your regional management teams to ensure that you fully understand your service charges and we're doing the right thing by you and listening to what you've got to say in terms of the improvements that we can make as well. So I'm hopeful that that's given you a little bit of an insight to service charges, and I'm going to hand over to Caroline next.
Good morning. Good morning. My role is pretty easy, and it's really to go out there and encourage everyone to join the resident forum, because that's one of the key drivers for us is improving communication. We've heard from the existing forum about the need to engage in cascade and listen and respond. So the more people we have on the forum, the better and the easier it will be. So what we would really like to see is one representative from each court to join the forum. It's an opportunity to be heard. It's an opportunity to share your perspective, your feedback, and we really encourage it. So for those that would like to be a part of the forum, please send an email. You can contact Ian at kingedwardcourt.org. He's the chair of the forum, and he can give you some more information on what is involved in the role and how you could add on to that. And what I would say is that in a drive to improve communication, we're encouraging the other teams will be reaching out to the forums, both the retirement living and extra care forums, to engage and be part of where there are policy changes and new drives and new plans to improve practice and policy. We do encourage the feedback and input from the forums, and that's why it's important that we have a representative from each forum, because as you know, we're a national organization, so would like to hear from everyone wherever you are. So I will just I think swiftly pass on to my colleague who'll be talking about more engagement that we're looking to.
Hi, so Ashley Jarvis, Head of Extra Care South. I get the fun bit. So I want to talk to you about 2 new resident board members that we want to recruit. So we're looking for people who've lived our experience in our services and are involved in the communities. And also we want to involve you in our decision making. The 2 new board members will have an opportunity to influence the direction of the organisation and play a key role in shaping our services. We're looking for residents who will bring a fresh perspective and look at proposals through the eyes of our residents and the management team to ensure direct decisions we make to continue to achieve the maximum benefit for our Housing 21 residents. No previous experience is needed, just a passion for our purpose, which is a vision to ensure that older people who most need it can access high quality housing, support and care. Everyone has a right to live in high quality housing, and we are passionately believe in retirement living and the extra care services we provide. So we need your help. We need you to let our residents know about this exciting opportunity. If you have a resident living on service who is passionate about all things housing, shares our values and can complement the strength and diversity of our board, please encourage them to apply. We do have the information on our website, and there should also be posters on your court notice boards. The term will initially be for a 12-month period, which will be extendable to 3 years. It's a paid role, and we also reimburse expenses. So key dates to note: closing dates for applications is Friday the 14th of June, and interviews will take place week commencing the 22nd and 29th of July. These will be in person at our head office in Birmingham, and we will reimburse any reasonable travel expenses.
Lovely, thank you, Ashley. And just that kind of concludes the presentation element. As ever, if you've got any questions outside of this, then please drop Charlie a quick email. The email's on screen there, so you can please do let us know if you've got any questions or anything following the presentation. I know lots of people watch them after they've been done live, so please share them with us and we'll be happy to answer them. But I'll probably stop sharing my screen. And Katie, is there any questions that have come through?
Just one question, and that is, now that utility costs are dropping, when will we see this in our charges?
Yeah, I'll pick that up. Thank you, Katie. So yeah, we've got the charges and utilities have come through this year, so you'll see that reflected in the April in the changes from April. But when we do the consultations in October and November that Tracy referenced, then you'll start to see some changes there. So but we fully expect utilities to drop because there was a surplus last year and a deficit the year before, so you'll see that come through in this year's charges. But hopefully that covers that off. But I would encourage all residents to be involved in the consultation meetings that happen in October and November, where individually the team will go through what it means for your service in particular. We will probably leave it there. As ever, thank you. I know I said when you've watched the recording, if you do want to drop us any questions, please do so. But thank you to my team for joining me and providing me with a bit of company today, so I wasn't on my own. That was very helpful. As ever, your feedback from the residents is always appreciated, and I know if you do drop me an email afterwards to let me know how it's gone. So please do that as well. But without further ado, I will leave you to the rest of your weeks. Thank you as ever, and please contact us with any information. Cheerio.
Bye.